Joining us now is Marc Bedard, CEO of Lion Electric. Lion Electric is a leading manufacturer of electric buses. My colleague Bob Cusack, who's editor-at-large of The Hill, he's also my boss, spoke with Marc a short while ago. Over to you, Bob.
Marc, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hey, Bob. Thanks for having me.
I wanted to first start about the sales of electrical vehicles. It doubled from 2020 to 2021. Now in 2022, we've got inflation, we've got high gas prices, we've got a war raging in Ukraine. Just from a big picture, both short-term and long-term, where is the EV industry going?
Well, you know what, Bob? A few years ago, it was really a matter of if, and right now, it's really a matter of when. And you probably recall that we started with the electric school buses, and that was in 2016. And well, at this time, everybody was just wondering, I mean, if this is going to happen at some point. And it's happening. It's happening now. It's happening as we speak. So no surprise to us. We've decided to go all electric as soon as 2010. And I mean, we took the market by, let's say by storm, in 2016 with our electric school buses. And now we became the leader in electric school buses. So for us, I mean, it's only the beginning. The electric school bus market will fully electrified within, we think, the next 10, 15 years. And same thing on the truck market. I mean, especially for the short haul. I mean, this is really coming right now. So no surprise for us at Lion.
What were the biggest challenges? You are a leader in the industry, but I'm sure it wasn't always easy.
No, it's never easy. it's never easy. I mean, well, it's about change. I mean, a lot of people are afraid of change, and when they're doing, those changes, they need to make sure they're going with the right technology. And many years ago, I mean, that was a question mark. I mean, is electric the right technology? And there has been a lot of analysis on this. The great thing about electric now is that the operators are going electric, not only because it's good, for the health, the environment, but right now it's mostly because the total cost of ownership, I mean, the economic value of electric has never been so good, and it's only going to get better with the cost of the gas rate now. I mean, reaching $6 a gallon in some states. So now, I mean, the economic is working so well that it's a matter. I mean, for all those operators, I mean, they want to go electric, no doubt.
A lot of politicians in Washington, mostly Democrats, but some Republicans too, have highlighted climate change is a real problem. The Biden administration has some big goals on climate change. Half of new passenger vehicle sales by 2030, they want to have to be zero emissions. So half of. Is that a doable goal, or do you think maybe it could be more aggressive?
No, I think the goals should be more aggressive. I think it's honestly, it's a good start. I mean, we cannot be against that. I mean, there was nothing like this like just a few years ago. So I will call that a very good start. But I think it needs to get better. It needs to get better in Washington, but it needs to get better also at the state level. I mean, the states, I mean, they do have the power to drive a lot of those changes. So they need to do that as well. And that's the same thing all over the world. I mean, this is in the United States, but same thing is happening in Canada right now. So those are good goals, but we do not see why they cannot get better.
You mentioned change, and people are very resistant to change. They don't embrace change. For this, because everyone's, a lot of people, most people, they're used to, buying a car, filling it with gas, it gets empty, you fill it with gas again. What do you think are the most effective strategies for people embracing change? Because when elevators first were invented, a lot of people wouldn't go on them. They're scared. It's change. How do you deal with that just from a mental standpoint?
Well, I think it's all about, for the operators, it's getting to know exactly what they are doing, what they are buying. So everybody has to be very honest, very open. Obviously, no smoke and mirror about what the technology can be doing in 10 years from now, what they are buying. The vehicle they're buying is the one that they are buying right now. So what is the range of that vehicle? What does that imply? I mean, is it affected or impacted by, the weather? Those kind of things. We spend a lot of time working with the operators on the duty cycle of their product. Let's take, some companies that are doing last mile deliveries. They're making money with their trucks. Well, if those trucks are not working, obviously, they're not making money. So they need to understand, how many hours it takes to charge those trucks. What's the payload on those trucks as well? And well, at Lion, this is what we've been doing. We call it the Lion ecosystem, and we work with them pretty hard on making sure that they have exactly what they thought they were buying. So most of the time, it's working very well, Bob. In some occasions, I mean, that for, especially for the long haul, where, companies, they want to keep going with diesel, or sometimes, they're looking at the fuel cells, which makes sense because this is electric, is not built for the long haul right now. We have a maximum of 250 miles on a single range. I'm telling you, the operators, they like this dialogue with us because they get, the true picture.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that with changes in technology and as far as cost, that, getting LASIK surgery on your eyes used to be extremely expensive. Those costs have come down. Do you see costs over the long term really getting a little more affordable for more people?
Absolutely. I mean, costs are going down, Bob, no doubt. The costs have been going down within the last 4 or 5 years. We started in 2016, right? Selling, our first electric school buses. And since 2016, the costs really went down. And it's only going to get better within the next few years. Well, because, of the demand. I mean, there's a lot more EVs on the street. This is driving cost reduction. One of the things we're doing also at Lion is the battery factory that we will be opening later this year in the second half of 2022. Keep in mind that about 35 to 40% of the cost of the bill of material of an electric truck or an electric bus is within the batteries. So all the cost you can save on those batteries, they have a major impact on the final selling price. So yeah, to your question, cost will be going down to a point where we feel that within the next 6-7 years, it's probably going to be at parity with the cost of the diesel truck.
You're a leader. You're opening a new plant in Illinois. As far as the challenges that you're facing, you're on the front lines here, and we've got in this country, obviously, and other countries globally, we've got some major issues: supply chain. We've got a labor shortage. How are you handling those when you're opening new businesses, new plants, and how tough is it out there?
It's very challenging. I mean, you're absolutely right. We feel that the first thing that the employees are looking for, they want to share values with the company they're working for, and I think that this is something that is really playing for us right now. The value that we have, like the mission we have and the ESG mission we have, well, the customers, they love that. The customers, they love that, but the employees, they love that as well. And I will say, especially the people in their 20s and in their 30s as well. But they like sharing the value. So they're not only coming to work because they want to make a living, it's also because they share the value of the company they're working for. So because of what we are doing, we feel very good that we will be able to attract the number of people we're looking for. We're looking at hiring like about 500 people before the end of this year in Illinois. And this is going well. I mean, we're attracting a lot, of the best talent out there. And that's probably because of this. And that's because, we basically want to change the world. And those people, they want to do that as well.
Last question, it's a big one, is what can the U.S. leaders and global leaders do more? What do you scratch your head at and say, they really should be doing this and focusing more on that? What are those issues that you want to see policymakers do?
Well, I think, Bob, it's about making the change now. I mean, it's not a change that could occur in 6, 7, 10 years from now. Having a long-term goal is always good. But the long-term goal will be successful only if we are doing the baby steps right now. And the baby steps we need to do is electrifying the fleets right now. We need to start right now. And by doing this, well, that's going to drive, the change for the people. We were talking about, driving the change. Well, for the people, the more they're going to see electric vehicles on the road, the more they like them. And once, you've driven those vehicles, usually you don't want to go back to some other things. So we need governments, that will invest more money into subsidies, because even if the total cost of ownership is pretty good, well, there is a higher sticker price. And so we need to help, that transition. And also it shows the people that this is where we are going. And when, the president of the United States is saying that, we only want electric school buses on the road, let's say in 10 years from now, well, tells a lot to the people. And when the governors are saying this as well, it tells a lot to the society that this is where we're going.
Well, it's an exciting field you're in, and the world certainly has been changing and probably will be changing a lot more over the next decade or two. Marc, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Bob.